Joey, I have a suspicion that you're kind of obsessed with me.
She's not wrong. I am a little bit obsessed with her. How could I not be, though? Mikel Delgado is an expert in cats and cat behavior. She sat down to talk with me about orphan kittens and socialization and cat dating. You're gonna learn the answers to questions that you didn't even realize you wanted to ask. Don't take my word for it, though. Let's hear from Mikel.
I still remember you were doing a Instagram Live, right? And I was like, I've been following you for a while. I like to keep tabs on the, new rising cat behaviorists. So I was like, oh, what's up with this person? I'm gonna see what they're talking about on Instagram Live, and I think I made you panic a little bit. So that's always like one of my, I think that was the first time we actually spoke words to one another well, actually, I wasn't even speaking because I was just hanging out in the audience, but you were suddenly she showed up.
I know, I was like...
Didn't know I was spying on you.
Well, and at that point, I was like, I didn't realize that anyone was actually tuning in or watching or anything. So I was like, oh my god, someone who actually knows what they're talking about. You have a doctorate in cats, basically. I know it's cat cognition, but
sure.
Oh, hello, Poutine.
Hello.
Are you gonna say hi to Mikel, Poutine, with your tail? Oh, Poutine, what are you doing?
I was hoping I'd just get to see his butt, but...
Well, you might still get to see Poutine's butt. Oh, okay.
He's over me.
His tail. So, Mikel, for people who don't know who you are, can you introduce yourself? And I obviously, again, we've established I'm, unhealthily fascinated by you. I'm going to use the politically correct term. Tell people who you are. Why should we trust you? Who are you?
Sure. I am Mikel. I am a cat behaviorist / cat behavior expert / scientist, animal behaviorist, whatever label of the day you want to give me. You should trust me because I've been working with cats a long time, right? I'm approaching my 25th year of working professionally with cats, so, you can think about how freaking old I am, but, I got my start, very humble beginnings. I was a punk rocker, not one of those people who wants to be a vet or even a scientist, right? I was working at a health food cooperative. So that was my livelihood, and basically started volunteering at a shelter, San Francisco SPCA, volunteered there so much, they gave me a job. And they had a cat behavior program at the shelter, a whole department. When I was there, at one point there were 4 full-time people whose jobs were just to work on cat behavior, which is pretty amazing for an animal shelter. And I just became obsessed.
Wow.
I'd always loved cats. And so that was how I got started working in cat behavior, was in the shelter environment. And at some point I realized, this is a really stressful environment. I kind of it's destroying me physically, just and emotionally. So after 8 years, I was like, okay, I need an exit strategy, which was academia, I guess. I was a college dropout, so I wasn't to go back to school. I had to finish my bachelor's degree because, I was not even that far. So I went back to school, started working with a mentor at my undergrad. He was a very Skinnerian behaviorist. So I worked in a lab with pigeons in boxes, pecking lights, and doing all the very, like I said, they call it a Skinner box. A lot of it is just about, conditioning and associations and learning. And pigeons are a very common psychological model for cognition. Yep. So spent a lot of time working with pigeons and got into research. I mean, I wasn't really loving lab animal life, but I knew research is cool. I liked stats. I liked science, and decided that I would try to get a PhD. So then I got a PhD. After I got my PhD, many years later, did my postdoc at UC Davis. So back to why should you trust me? I say trust but verify. One reason you should trust me is if I don't know something, I'm very comfortable saying I don't know, or we don't know, or there's no studies supporting that. And I think that's a big step or hurdle to get over as an expert, is not feeling like you have to answer every single question or have a good answer. And the best way to find that out is to teach undergrads, because if they ask you a question and you try to bluff the answer, they will bust you pretty quickly. So I think an important part of being an expert is knowing where your expertise is and where you don't know the answer, or if you're old like me where you can't remember the answer. I will be honest with you about what I know and what I don't know. And I have a lot of experience working hands-on with cats, doing research, reading scientific papers, writing scientific papers about cats. I've published a lot, and I work with clients. So I do cat behavior consulting and have helped a lot of people over the past 25 years to solve behavior problems with their cats. Unfortunately, I'm still answering a lot of the same questions that I was 25 years ago. So, yeah, you should scoop your litter box twice a day, but so,
Yes.
yeah, things change very slowly. I don't know. Did I convince everybody I'm trustworthy?
Prozac is convinced. Though,
Okay, he's tough. He's a tough audience.
The real hurdle. He's very skeptical of everything. He's like, what was the sample size in that study? What was the control group? I'm gonna need like some methods. Like I need.
He's reviewer too.
Prozac, are you secretly reviewer too for like every field?
And for those who are not familiar with reviewer two, when you publish scientific papers, they go through peer review, which is a very long and grueling process. And so other scientists are going to tear apart your research and tell you why it sucks and why it should or should not be published. So it's usually also anonymous. So you get reviewer 1 and reviewer 2 and sometimes 3 and 4 depending on how many people looked at your paper, but reviewer 2 is always the one that hates your paper. There's kind of this stereotype, everyone like, yeah, I'm reviewer 2 or he's reviewer 2 means that you're very critical and maybe judgy and maybe territorial of your little arena of science. So if I've won him over, I feel pretty good right now.
Conspiracy theory. I wonder if they change reviewer 2 to the more critical one intentionally.
Sure.
If every scientist ever is in on the joke where they're like, okay, this person was going to be reviewer 1, but they were really harsh. Let's switch them to reviewer 2.
I mean, I've been reviewer 2. I try to temper my reviews with nice things and give constructive feedback, and really the goal of the review process is to make the work better. So whenever you get reviews back on a scientific paper, you're just like, this person's a jerk, like they didn't understand my genius. And then a couple days later you're like, yeah, they're right, this made no sense, I wrote it really poorly and I need to temper my conclusions with something more realistic and not say this was the best study ever. It's all part of the process.
There's nothing wrong with getting feedback, even if it doesn't feel good, because ultimately it helps you be a better scientist and it helps you improve what you're doing.
And I think the same is true. Like when I'm working with clients, I do a lot of follow up with them because yeah, sometimes my advice was unclear or what I recommended didn't work, so we have to change direction. So, I think it's really important, I think in anything we do, and as consultants too. So secret is that, Joey and I are on this little WhatsApp group of friends who are all cat behavior consultants, right? And so we communicate about our cases and get feedback from each other. And to me, that's always a really important part of the process, is not operating in a vacuum. That's one of the things that keeps me updating my methods and trying new things and not just doing the same old stuff I was doing 25 years ago, but really changing how I practice as a consultant. And so to me, that camaraderie and support and conversation is a really important part of the work we do. It's important in science, but it's also important in our, practice as consultants and helping people and becoming better at what we do all the time.
It's really helpful having someone if I need to bounce an idea off of someone. It's nice having other people who you can be like, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing here? Because something seems just a little bit off and I want to confirm that I am not just completely out of it or that I'm misinterpreting something. Michael, as long as I have you captive, as long as I have you here very generously volunteering your time. I didn't threaten Michael, for the record, just so everyone knows, she's here willingly. This is not a captivity situation. You mentioned earlier you've done a lot of research and you've done a lot of research. I feel like every time I'm searching for something in the journals, your name comes up all the time, no matter what I search for. It's always so-and-so, M. Delgado, and I'm like, oh, her again. Or I'm like, oh, I know her. I want to talk about your research on orphan kittens, because kitten season is coming up. And Can you tell us a little bit about some of the research that you've done specifically on orphan kittens?
Yeah. So when I was a postdoc at UC Davis, I was kind of feeling my way as to what kind of research I was going to do while I was there. And one thing that I got introduced to pretty quickly was the Orphan Kitten Project, which is a veterinary student-run nonprofit on campus that rescues orphan kittens and fosters them and does adoptions. And my mentor, Dr. Tony Buffington, who, if your listeners are not familiar with his work, he's definitely a really amazing researcher and has done a lot of really groundbreaking work on cats, specifically in the area of chronic pain and feline idiopathic cystitis. And I was very lucky to work with him and have him as a mentor. But he was like, we should really tap into this population of kittens who are coming into the veterinary and university system, they're coming in at just a few days old. So this is like a rare opportunity to really know about kittens' trajectory from just the first few days of their life, right? So a lot of us, when we adopt a kitten from a shelter, their life before we got them is a big question mark. How many siblings did you have, and where were you living? Like, what shrub were you, was your mom taking care of you under, and all that stuff. One thing that was really interesting to me in general was the impact of early life experiences. And that was really an opportunity to use this population as a potential model for adverse early life experiences, because these kittens are experiencing premature separation from their moms. It would also allow me, because lab animal research was not my favorite, so I knew that I wanted to, like when I was doing my grad studies, so actually I got my PhD studying squirrel cognition, so I was chasing wild squirrels around on the Berkeley campus for 7 years, so that's a little known fact. Well, I don't think it's a little known fact.
I imagine you with like a giant net, like running and being like, squirrels, get back here.
Yeah, so I worked with laboratory pigeons and fish as an undergrad, and I knew, like, I don't want to work with lab animals anymore. Like, I like animals to be free or in whatever their natural environment was, so when I was looking at grad programs, I was looking at ones where I could either study companion animals or wild animals, and it just, roll of the dice. UC Berkeley was the place I wanted to go, and the faculty member I was working with there, her background was in wild squirrels, so I actually never touched any of the squirrels. Everything, they were all volunteers in the research, so everything we did with them, including getting hair samples for DNA, was all hands off. Like, I trained them to go into like a little hair trap so that they would eat nuts, and there was a little sticky tape at the top that would, while they were eating the nuts, their tail would stick to it, and then when they ran out, it would leave hairs behind with bulbs so I could do DNA analysis. And I watched, most of my research was, chasing squirrels around, watching them bury food and watching them steal food from each other. So anyway, I came to UC Davis, like, I don't want to work with cats in a laboratory. I know you're processing the squirrel information right now. It's a lot.
It's just, I'm not gonna lie, like, sounds like you were a bit of a creep to the squirrels. Like, you were, like, I imagine you with, like, binoculars.
Oh, yeah,
like,
we were videotaping,
like,
a lot of, but no nets. So, like, I never touched any squirrels. They were, like I said, complete volunteers. Good. Squirrels will do a lot of things for walnuts and other delicious food treats. So
same.
Yeah. So anyway, when I got to UC Davis, I knew, like, I don't want to work with cats in a lab. I want to work with cats in a home environment or a shelter, right? So something that is, I'm not making them live like a life that I don't think they should be living for my research. So in this case, back to kittens, right? So this is a kind of naturally occurring, population of kittens who have experienced separation from their mom. We didn't separate any kittens from their moms. People were finding them, like, alone, and we could talk about whether or not some of those kittens probably could have been left and reunited with their moms. We had nothing to do with the separation process. These were kittens brought in by Good Samaritans into the shelter system, and we were able to then include them in our research. So we were just part of the process. Most of these kittens were in a foster home. In fact, I think all of them are in foster homes, and we were able to kind of bring our research to the kittens. We had cameras that we'd give to foster caretakers so that we could record kitten behavior, and that was how I was able to do my research. And no kittens were, like I said, purposely, like, nothing bad happened to the kittens because of our research. Like, some of the kittens died. It's very common for orphan kittens to have a high mortality rate, unfortunately. Sorry, I went on a tangent. The question is really, like, is being orphaned an adverse early life experience? And we know in humans that this is something that can cause lifelong repercussions, right? So there's a study called ACEs, which is Adverse Childhood Experiences Study. This was a long-term study between Kaiser Permanente and lots, thousands and thousands of people. And what they found was that the more early life experiences you had that were negative, the more severe the consequences were for your health, for your mental health, the likelihood that you'll go to jail or commit suicide or experience, like, chronic health problems, etc. So it's an important time. Like, those of us that had some childhood trauma, we're the ones that are a hot mess now, like anxiety out the wazoo, right?
And it's like, we keep finding more that, like, it's even worse than what we thought initially. Like, I feel like it's constantly like, oh yeah, we're coming out with more things that, like, early childhood experiences will screw you over for the rest of time. It just is awful.
Yeah, and you're a mental health professional with humans too, so we got problems.
Oh.
So then it's a reasonable question: is this true of other species? If so, then what? We did a couple different, we did a survey-based study looking at other potential early life experiences that might be problematic for cats, like being declawed as a kitten, even being in the shelter system, and of course, being orphaned or early weaned. Those are a few things that, unfortunately, we did a survey, and we never published the results, but it did look like there were some associations between some of the adverse early life experiences and FIC later. The data was a little messy. Sometimes it's hard to prove chicken and egg problems, right? Like, is the stress causing this, or is this causing stress? The question was really like, we have this population of kittens, and this is a great thing, is that a lot of shelters are increasing their capacity to care for orphan kittens. So when I started working at the San Francisco SPCA, we only took kittens that were at least 4 weeks of age that were eating on their own. If you were not eating on your own, you had to go to the city shelter, and there were people that would rescue some of those kittens, but a lot of those kittens get euthanized. Bottle feeding kittens it's a round-the-clock job. It's not easy, and as I mentioned, a lot of them die. A lot of them die even with great care. So they're just, again, there's a reason that cats are supposed to stay with their moms for the first few months of their life. When they're separated from their moms, there are potential repercussions. So we wanted to look at, okay, what's up with these kittens? Does being orphaned have any negative effects? What are their behaviors like? Are there problematic behaviors? And I learned a lot because, again, when I worked in the shelter, we worked with older kittens, older 4-week-old kittens only. So I hadn't personally worked with bottle babies or orphans, and gosh, they're cute. One thing that I found out from one of the students who was helping me with my research was, because she was a seasoned foster, her name's Izzy Walcher, and she's fantastic, but she was like, oh yeah, these kittens are sucking on each other's junk all the time. It was like, what? And she's like, oh, it's a huge problem. And I was like, okay, wow, okay. But, I just was like, had never heard this before. And so, of course, I'm like, well, we need to study this because,
obviously.
I was, thinking ahead of the headlines when I published my research.
You'd be known as the kitten junk lady.
Yeah, exactly. That was really what I was going for. No, but it was and she was like, oh yeah, it's a problem. Some of them need surgery. Some of them die. Okay, so we kind of launched a series of studies with these orphan kittens in foster homes. And one of the things we had was, we had people, we gave them all incubators to raise the kittens in so that we could control their temperature and humidity that they were housed in. And we set up cameras in all of these incubators. But at that point, we were looking at the effect of
like a really easy plant.
Yeah, they kind of are. And so we were looking at the effect of temperature and humidity. Do kittens need it to be 80 degrees? Do they need it to be 90 degrees? Do they prefer 80% humidity, or do they want 90% humidity? You could do low humidity, high humidity. What's better? I don't know. What do these little guys need? I mean, you hear keep them warm, keep them relatively moist, but there's really no clear guidelines. And like I said, was kind of a niche population, but now more people are caring for these kittens. We need to kind of look at what's going on. So we had cameras in all these incubators, and we started getting reports back from the foster caretakers that sure enough, these kittens are going to town on each other's genitals, and it's not good. One, for the kitten who's doing the nursing, it's indicating that there's a physical need that's not being met, right? So nursing is a really critical part of the mom-kitten relationship. Kittens spend a lot of time nursing. And in fact, they're not just nursing for milk. They do a lot of what's called non-nutritive sucking. So they're also nursing for comfort, security, relationship with mom, safety, etc. And so a bottle baby is fed every couple hours, making sure that they're getting enough food and that they're growing, but that may not be enough. And so that's probably where the kitten is seeking that stimulus that they would have if mom was there, which is frequent opportunities to nurse, and what kind of looks like a nipple, feels like a nipple, smells like a nipple, becomes identified with that kitten's saliva, which is probably partly how kittens find their nipple later, right? Is that they've sucked on their mom's nipple, they can go back to theirs later. So once they've started sucking on their litter mate's genitals, there's a lot of interest in returning. And the problem is that, so if you haven't fostered neonatal kittens, they also need help being stimulated to go to the bathroom. So typically if you're taking care of a kitten, you bottle feed them and then you use a little cotton ball and rub their genitals and then they pee and poop. So the kittens that are nursing on them are stimulating them to go to the bathroom. And so the kitten who's nursing is actually now ingesting urine and feces instead of the formula, right? So now, it's serious. So for the kitten who's nursing, we've got the emotional stress. Now they're ingesting urine and feces. And for the kitten who's being nursed on, well, their skin becomes very inflamed. Some of these kittens need PU surgery, which is removal of the penis, because they get so badly injured from the sucking, and super red bums. It's just gross and sad, and it's painful for them too. So now we have a situation. Yeah, this is it's so tragic. And so these kittens on both sides, everybody's unhappy. You don't really want to separate them because these are kittens already experiencing social isolation from their mom, right? So they've been separated from mom. So now all they've got is their litter mates, and now you're going to separate them from their litter mates because they won't stop sucking on the junk. So it's it's really hard. And then it's very hard to stop once they start. And people have tried lots of different things, including putting little like outfits on them and physically separating them. And it's just very sad. So I will say this is not a problem that I've solved through science. We tried to we tested a prototype. It was a product called the Suro Kitty, which is designed to nurse kittens through a stuffed animal. We did not find any positive effect of that, but it was a very small sample size. So again, not published research, but we were trying to what can we do to help these kittens? The answer really seems to be try to keep them with their mom at all, if at all possible, and if not with their mom, with a substitute mom, because it's really hard to replace that relationship. It just points to how important that mom kitten relationship is. That was probably way more than you wanted to know.
It started out being okay, we can kind of LOL kitten junk, and then it got really dark.
So we published a survey-based study. So after this, we saw all these kittens doing this. So then we did a survey of foster caretakers, and we sampled foster caretakers who were experiencing this, misdirected oral behavior in their kittens, and then ones who were not, because we were trying to figure out what is it about these kittens that make them more likely to do this. And being orphaned was, of course, the strongest predictor. Even some kittens with moms will occasionally do this, but it's definitely way more common in the orphans. We were looking at environmental factors. Really, being orphaned was the biggest predictor, and then being a male kitten did increase your risk of being a victim, although sometimes female kittens are victims too. Having that little penis that maybe resembles a nipple makes you a target, for sure. But I still want to know, okay, so even within a litter, you could have 5 kittens. 2 of them would be nursing, and the other 3 were not. Why? I just want to know, and I don't know. It's not just the environment, because these kittens are sharing an environment. It's not just genetics. So there's some other potentially kittens that are not as equipped to deal with the stress response of being separated from mom. Maybe they're engaged in more active seeking of mom. They can't just kind of accept this is my life, I'm just an orphan. They're just very driven. And so I'm just, my mind goes to why do some kittens do this and others don't? And the answer is I have no idea, but I'm very curious, and I think that's true of even in adult cats, right? You can have a household where there's 3 cats and one of them's not using the litter box, right? They all have the same litter box, they have the same environment, same relationships. So why is that one cat? And those kind of questions keep me awake at night and might make me want to do science and try to find out why, what is it about this one cat that's doing this? Probably part of that too is why when we look at the results of science, we tend to focus on whether or not it jives with what we know, what our cats are like, or, a lot of times when I tell people, oh, well, science says that cats like this, and well, my cat doesn't. And it's yeah, not all cats, but overwhelmingly most cats, right? We're just very individualistic. We're always trying to frame everything through that lens. But I like to know about the individual difference. I would love to know why some of these kittens do this, and I don't know.
There's always cats that do things that are not in line with other cats, and it's fascinating seeing just the things where you're really? That's the thing that you like? Sure, you do you. What are some of the long-term consequences that we'll see with kittens that are orphaned?
Yeah, great question. One of the things that I had this dream, if I had ended up getting a faculty job in my own lab, which didn't happen. Ta-da,
if someone's independently wealthy and they
exactly.
want to fund you, I can get them in contact with you.
I have lots of research ideas, but one of them was wouldn't it be cool to follow these kittens through their lifetime into their new home and find out if there is an effect of being orphaned, so you could have matched mother-reared kittens and orphan kittens and study them long term. And that was not something we were able to do because that would be a very expensive project and take a lot of time. But we did do a study looking at stress responses in orphans compared to mother-reared kittens at 1 week of age and 3 weeks of age. So we did a 2-minute separation from their nest. So if they were with their mom, then they were separated from their mom and litter mates. And if they were orphaned, then we separated just from their litter mates because they were already separated from their moms. So we had a little playpen. We had it lined with puppy pads and everything was cleaned and changed between kittens. We had multiple cameras set up over the playpen, and then we just put the little teeny kitten in the playpen for 2 minutes and let the cameras roll and just watched what they did. What we're interested in are 2 potential measures of stress in kittens. And this was based on previous research from folks at UNAM, which is in Mexico. They looked at the activity level and the vocalizations of kittens who'd been separated from their nest. Activity would indicate perhaps searching behavior, so trying to get back to mom. So they're trying to reorient. They're disoriented. Where am I? Where's my family? I got to get back. So more.
Are you my mother? Are you my mother?
Yes.
Are you my mother?
Yes. And then the crying is, we know that distress cries, this is a cross-species phenomenon, but they elicit caretaking. And so when a mom cat hears her kittens crying, she typically goes and fetches them and brings them back. These are two behaviors that would indicate, okay, these kittens are experiencing some stress from being separated and they're trying to get back. And so the previous study from UNOM had just looked at whether or not kittens were consistent at 1 and 3 weeks of age. And so the kittens in their study were all mother reared. But what they found was that the kittens who were more stressed at 1 week of age were also more stressed at 3 weeks of age. So the kittens that were crying and moving a lot at 1 week of age, 2 weeks later, they were still the more active ones of the bunch. There were individual differences within these kittens. They don't have like kind of a universal response to being separated from their nest. So then we were like, well, I wonder if mother-reared kittens and orphan kittens are different. So we tested loads of mother-reared kittens and orphan kittens in these little playpens for 2 minutes, recorded how much they cried, recorded how much they moved, so how active they were. And lo and behold, we found that the orphans were more vocal and more active at both 1 week of age and 3 weeks of age, so indicating that they are more stressed than mother-reared kittens by that temporary separation from their nest.
Not actually related to the cats, but to you and your own well-being. How do you deal with listening to cats crying all day? Did you pawn it off on an undergrad?
Well, one thing, it's 2 minutes, right? So we kept it really short because we didn't want to cause any long-term stress. So 2 minutes. I did go to the initial sessions just to make sure all the methods were okay, we got the camera situation and we know how to clean all this stuff and how to handle the kittens and all that to make sure we were being consistent in our methods. But I did pawn it off onto, so it was a veterinary student, Kira Lowell. She's now a veterinarian. And then the other student was Sabrina Medeiros, and she's now a PhD student in animal behavior at UC Davis. But research, you need a team. So I think they were not too traumatized, and some of the kittens just fell asleep in the playpen. The videos are cute and sad. I was like, oh, little baby, you'll be going back in 2 minutes. It's just 2 minutes. You'll be okay. I think they'd already experienced, losing their mom was probably the big stressor in their life. I think the 2 minutes in the study probably didn't tip them over the edge, but it's hard because you can't, when you're doing research with adult cats, you can give them treats at the end, right? It's I will pay you for your work. These kittens, 1 week old kittens still can't see, they can't really hear, they're just a little fuzzy jelly bean, and then at 3 weeks they're starting to crawl around a bit more. They're still pretty young and you can't give them churu. But the cool thing, so you were asking kind of about the long-term effects. So the cool thing was that it kind of went full circle. So we, UNOM did the study looking at individual differences in kittens, and then we kind of, modified their idea to compare mother-reared and orphan kittens, and then they did a follow-up study to our study looking at kittens at 8 or 9 weeks of age, so orphans and mother reared. So they took it to the next level, which was really cool. They have a really cool setup. So a lot of their cats are actually street cats that can come and go into the researcher's house. So she has all these nests set up in her home that the cats can have babies in and stuff. So it's pretty awesome. They foster out and adopt out all the kittens at the end of the study. So they also use a model where they're not using laboratory animals. It's a very kind of naturalistic experiment. So they did a similar at 9 weeks of age, or maybe 8 weeks of age, I can't remember. They did an isolation test and some handling tests, but their results synced very nicely with ours, which did show that the orphans were still more stressed and more vocal at adoption time as they were at 1 and 3 weeks of age. So we see this persistence at least through 8-9 weeks of age. Like I said, after that it's really hard to keep track of these kittens if you're placing them in homes, because it's just recruiting people in homes and being able to track that. You need money and incentives, and it's challenging. Like I said, all the results kind of synced up, which suggests that there is some level of stress imposed upon these kittens from this maternal separation. We don't know the long-term effects. So there's been a few survey-based studies where they ask people, was your kitten weaned early? And then they can find okay, kittens whose owners say they were weaned early do seem to have more tendencies towards aggressive behaviors. But, with survey-based studies, you're well, how did they know they were early weaned? When did they get them? You're dealing with whatever the interpretation is of the person taking the study. And so sometimes it's a little hard to know how tight that data is when you're looking at something like early weaning. We don't know the long-term past around 2 months effects because nobody's been able to follow these animals. Someone should give me a lot of money and I'll do it.
If anyone happens to be they've found a bunch of diamonds or something and they want to fund this study, I will get you in touch. Question about some of the practical implications? People are probably going to be finding kittens. What should people do if they find a kitten?
There's definitely some good guidelines out there about, what is the condition of the kitten? Does the kitten look fat and happy and like, well fed versus kind of skinny and like cold and not energetic, right? One thing is like, if you can, is like keep an eye on things for a few hours and see if mom comes back. Because a lot of times, mom has to go hunt. So she can't stay with the kittens all the time. And dad's not doing anything. So dad's out of the picture. So we got single mom. She's got to feed herself so that she can keep feeding her kittens. She may step away from the nest to go catch some mice or whatever. And that's often when people are like, oh, like, what are these little kittens doing in this bush? And so then they take the kittens away. Mom comes back and is like, what happened? My babies are gone. Best possible scenario is to keep mom with the kittens. Depending on the resources in your community, should you trap mom and kittens? Maybe. You should definitely try to get them off the street so that they can be spayed and neutered when the time is right. But ideally, the kittens do stay with their mom, whether it's in a shelter, foster home, or on the street. And some people are very, like, if the mom's feral, they're very opposed to trapping the mom and fostering her in a home environment because it's stressful. But I think also being a mom out on the streets is stressful. So we're trying to do the most good with the resources in our community that we have. Some of those kittens, if your community does not have a lot of resources, if you separate those kittens from mom, they will definitely die in the shelter. So my advice is always to like reach out to your local rescue groups and they can help guide you. But if you can kind of verify like, oh, mom's coming back, I'm just gonna like let her do her business, versus like, oh, these kittens are not doing well and they need someone to intervene on their behalf. Now, once you have the kittens, I think some of the big issues with orphans are really about weaning. When I was working at the San Francisco SPCA, kittens had to be eating on their own for us to take them. And so if the kitten was like 4 weeks of age, that's a very young age to be changing your diet, because if you were still with mom, you would not be switching to solid food exclusively for several more weeks. So I think that's probably one of the biggest concerns I have about orphans, is that we're doing this kind of forced weaning, which of course has impacts on their digestive system. It probably has effects on their emotional system, because food is for a lot of us security, right? Like, I'm already thinking about the pie I'm going to get later today, but I think just planting that seed in your brain. But I think like thinking about
what
this,
kind
like,
of pie wait, hang on, pause. I need to know the type of pie. Like, this is necessary. What kind of pie are you getting?
I don't know yet. I usually decide at the pie shop. It could be.
Do you have a favorite type of pie?
That's the problem. No, because I love chocolate cream pie, I love coconut cream pie,
yes,
and I love most berry pies. Those are my top three. Like, I love anything with like raspberries and like blueberries in it. I'm all over that.
Like a triple berry pie.
Oh yeah, they call it jumbleberry at the pie shop, which jumbleberry pie is like probably my favorite.
There's a local apple orchard here that makes
nice
apple blueberry pie that
yeah.
Oh my god, I can just eat that whole thing. Like, and you warm it up with a little bit of vanilla ice cream.
Oh yeah, and I'm also a plate licker. If I really like pie, I'm gonna lick the plate clean. Probably
Listen,
like
there's
one of the
no
weirdest things
judgment
about
here.
me.
As someone who takes carbohydrates very seriously, like I can appreciate that.
I think the little orphan kittens also take their carbs
cats.
seriously. So for me, like, I am concerned because I would see this with foster caretakers. They get really frustrated when the kittens aren't weaning early enough. They're like, he still wants his bottle. And it's like, of course he still wants his bottle. He's 5 weeks old. I feel like people really rush the weaning process. I think part of it is like, it's a pain in the to like every few hours bottle feed kittens. I also saw, honestly, a lot of people who were fostering kittens younger than a few weeks of age and were just, like, not getting up in the middle of the night to feed them, which is really bad. Even if the kittens survive, which, a lot of them will, I think, again, it gets back to the stress of taking away the non-nutritive and nutritive sucking that these kittens are used to me, is part of their development, and probably a very important part of their development. When we try to take it away from them too young, I think it probably causes some insecurity. That's, again, I don't have a lot of proof for that. That's just my, like, thinking about, again, what we've seen in these orphans, and knowing that they do not have access to constant nursing like mother-reared kittens do. Like, some of the stress around weaning, if you just let the kitten lead the weaning process, I think it's just much healthier for them physically. You're going to see less diarrhea from transitioning to a solid diet before your gut microbiome's ready or whatever. I don't know anything about the microbiome, but I like to throw words around that sound fancy. It all makes sense, right? That this process happens naturally much slower. The kitten relationship with mom goes on for a few months and then it ends. Right, but it ends when the kitten is fully developed and able to survive on their own. It can be hard to replicate that experience.
I think it's important to consider one of the things you said was that the cats are being deprived of like a natural behavior for them. And I think that's something that we see practically with clients too, is when cats are not able to do behaviors that they do naturally, it creates problems. And like we know that like even without like direct scientific evidence of that, practically we see it happen all the time where like cats will be doing all sorts of things that we do not want them doing because they're stressed and they're frustrated, and it creates a lot of issues for both the cat and the people.
Yeah, and you could imagine that a kitten that's been deprived of the ability to express natural behaviors at a young age may be more sensitive to that inability to express natural behaviors later in life, right? Are we predisposing them to get frustrated more easily, stressed more easily? I don't know, but again, these are the kinds of questions that keep me up at night and make me want to keep doing research.
I know if we're not careful, you and I are going to start talking about like, okay, how would we design this study? Because we're nerds, and we're cool nerds though, so it's fine. Now, one thing I do want to know, and this is a really important question. I've got Poutine and Prozac here. You're like, oh, what's coming?
I already know something bad's going to happen.
This is a very serious question. And you've got your 3 cats. If we were to pair up Poutine and Prozac with your 3 cats, which one do you think would do best with Poutine? Which one would do best with Prozac? And which one would be the one that would be like the spinster or like the strong independent lady?
Wow, okay.
This is probably the most in-depth, hard-hitting question you've ever been asked in an interview.
If we're going strictly on legs, then I think Prozac and Coriander both have long legs and are leggy.
He's Mr. Leggy, she's Mrs. Leggy.
Yeah. Poutine, on the other hand, seems... I mean, I know he's been vulnerable lately. He's a sensitive guy. He and Professor Scribbles might be. The irony actually is that Coriander and Professor Scribbles both hate the cat that they can see outside. Like, that is like a huge, like, they're the two that will fight. Whereas my third cat, Ruby, is just like dilly-gaff. Dilly-gaff means do I look like I give a in case anybody doesn't know that. I'm not a good cat matchmaker, I think, in this context. Like, it's almost like an arranged marriage kind of thing. I don't know that I could guarantee that any of my cats would like your cats, because my cats are kind of like 3 little basically. They don't like each other that much, actually, which was a little sad. They're sisters, so they tolerate each other very well. My last 2 cats loved each other. They like slept on each other all the time and groomed and played and did all the cute things. So I thought I'd get 3 sisters and they'd be friends for life. They do their own thing. They're cool with each other, but they don't want to cuddle each other. It is what it is.
It's hard to get it right. Poutine is very like social, and he's like, Prozac, you're my bestie. And Prozac is sometimes like, I would like to snuggle with you. And sometimes he's like, I would like for you to go over there and leave my presence, other cat. It depends.
I can relate to that. I think sometimes, when people are like want their cats to be friends, they kind of forget that sometimes they want some alone time too. And so it's important to kind of, I think, assess, do I need my cats to be friends? No. Do I need them to, all like live a peaceful, stress-free lifestyle in their own respective bubbles in different places of my house? That works great. My cats mind meld if we get like a new weird thing in the house. Like, we got this one like Smarty Cat toy that has the little feather that moves under the fabric, and when we got that, they all kind of converged and all stared at it at the same time, and we were almost expecting it to be like a fire starter situation where it's going to levitate or something. Like, they were like using their brain powers to make things move. It didn't happen, but that's what I imagine is like, okay, they're all like converging on this thing. Something magical is going to happen.
Speaking of cat relationships, socialization, what kind of things like impact whether or not cats get along with other cats, as long as we're on the topic?
Unfortunately, there's not enough science about like what makes some cat relationships work out and what don't. There's very little research out there on, although I'd say, there's a couple new studies coming down the pipeline. I just reviewed a paper.
Do you have some
about,
insider information?
I reviewed a paper about it was an ethogram of cat social behaviors. So ethogram meaning a list of different physical behaviors that cats show in the context of with other cats, which could be a helpful tool in the future for understanding cat relationships. So it's very hard to predict, like, even if your cat has liked every other cat they've lived with is not a guarantee that they're going to like the new cat you get. And just because your cat has never lived with other cats doesn't mean they can't live with another cat. I got 3 sisters hoping they'd be BFFs, and they're not, so you can't really predict exactly how any cat relationships are going to go. However, we know that you mentioned the word socialization. Socialization is the process of helping animals be social with other individuals that are going to be part of their life in the future, right? So for cats, that would include humans, could include other cats, dogs, rabbits, or whatever. The thing is that it's best if these introductions to other species or your own species happen while you're still young. So there is a period in a kitten's life that we call the socialization period, or sometimes it's called the sensitive period. It used to be called the critical period, but we've changed, like we don't use that term anymore in the animal behavior literature, because critical sounds like you don't get exposed to another cat at this time, or a human. Yeah, there's a door that slams shut at the end, and it's not critical so much as
0%
you're just
chance they'll ever get
one. Yeah. So it's really just about you're more plastic and primed to learn about relationships at this age. And unfortunately, the age is 2 to 8 weeks of age, give or take a few weeks at the end. Who has a kitten when they're that young? Right? Like, you can't adopt a kitten when they're 2 to 8 weeks of age. You can foster a kitten if you foster for a rescue group, but the reality is that for most people that are going to adopt a cat or kitten, they're not going to have control over that sensitive period and what happened during that period. The biggest impact of that period is really with the human-cat relationship, because we see that cats that are not handled during that period in a positive way or at all are going to be more fearful and less able to kind of generalize positive experiences about people later.
Is there anything that we should be doing or shouldn't be doing during that time period if we're handling those cats?
Yeah, I think the most important thing would be if, like, every rescue and shelter got good behavior information out to those foster caretakers about what they should be doing, right? It's not just providing food and a roof over their head. It is really about preparing them for the rest of their life. This is like the most impactful period of their life for their future personality and like ability to be a good companion to someone. And there's of course other factors that can lead to a cat being friendly or confident. That includes genetics and of course the environment they're living in and learning experiences. But it does seem like the socialization window has like an disproportionately huge impact on their behavior and their ability to cope with, being cuddled later or going to the vet or, all these things that happen to them on a regular basis. So ideally foster caretakers would be handling these kittens gently on a daily basis. And so respecting, even at this young age, the kitten's sense of choice and control. So not forced handling, but really focusing on handling that the kitten enjoys, typically starting with less sensitive areas first and then getting them used to being touched on their ears or paws or more sensitive areas after you've built some trust and figured out what treats they like. But we do want to make sure that the kitten has the freedom to get away and not be like wrapped up in a towel and forced to be cuddled or like held in the pocket of your sweatshirt when they feel afraid of you, but that we're really giving them some sense of autonomy and control over those interactions. We know, certainly with adult cats, we know that giving cats a sense of choice and control actually leads them to have better interactions with people. And so, anytime we can respect that mantra, choice and control, that's like in my head all the time, is like we want to do that with kittens too. And it doesn't mean you can't hold them, and give them treats and play with them and do clicker trading with them and all kinds of other things that help them be good companions. But we really want to avoid two things. I think things that happen, one is that, especially with the scared ones, is half the people ignore the scared ones, right? They want the feedback from the positive, the like purring kittens that like handling, and then they don't really know what to do with the scared ones. And then the other half of people are like forced holding, or what we call flooding, which is a forced exposure to a stimulus you find scary. Burrito wraps, which I try to speak out against those whenever possible, because we know that flooding increases fear and increases the animal's sensitivity to that stimulus in the future, so they might actually find that stimulus more scary later. So respectful handling, cuddling is all fine, but it has to be within the kitten's comfort zone and should be paired with treats and something they're clearly enjoying and not forced upon them. We should also expose kittens to multiple people. So they've done studies where kittens are socialized with one person. So one person's giving them all kinds of cuddles, it's all great and loving, and then another group of kittens meets 5 people. And the kittens who are handled by one person love that person, so they're very comfortable with that person. The kittens who are handled by 5 people generalize that positive experience to new people that they meet. So they actually are more able to say, people are good. Whereas the kitten who only gets handled by one person is like, I love this person, they're great. But when they meet a new person, they're like, who are you? Like, you're scary. So when they're handled by, up to 5 people, as this one study did, they were able to take that positive experience and just say like, oh, people are cool. Like, I like being touched by all people, because they'd had experiences with more than one person. You can imagine, like, a lot of foster caretakers might have a very quiet home, and it sounds great, like you got this nice quiet place, you've got lots of time to work with your kittens. But if the kitten's only meeting that one person, they are going to be at a slight disadvantage, because they're going to have to try to transfer that learning to new people, and it's not going to be as easy if they've really just been handled by one person. So getting those kittens out and meeting new people,
they should like swap.
They should circulate. They should, be.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the humans should circulate, not the kittens necessarily. I should be clear about that.
We need like a Tinder for kitten fosters or something, like where you can like meet new people.
Like a sisterhood of the traveling fosters.
You just have a round robin. If the kittens like it, right? Giving people like the tools to understand body language and know when a kitten's stressed, besides just hissing, or growling, which are things that most people understand are signs of stress, but sometimes people also like, oh, isn't that cute? He's spicy. It's like my least favorite term about cats, spicy. A kitten being scared and hissing and growling is not, like, to me, a joke. It's something we need to seriously have a plan for, because kittens who are under-socialized are going to have more struggles later in life. Not that they can't be great companion animals. I've had several of them. But they may come with some limitations as far as like, will they be able to adapt to children? Or like you have to move in with 3 roommates, or you want to get a dog, or I would generally say fearful animals are less flexible in their ability to cope with change in their environment.
I think there's a lot of stuff that people just don't think about as being really important, even though it is, like the having multiple people come through and meet the cat in a respectful way. Do you think that there's any advantage to like having the people come through and obviously respectfully, and if the kitten says no, backing off, but like having like their paws handled by different people and like doing like the different aspects of it? I'm thinking for like nail trims longer term.
Yeah, no, anything we can do that will make the kitten a good companion to someone later and make that person's life easier. As you know, we talk to lots of cat caretakers who can't trim their cat's nails or can't medicate their cats, can't get them into a carrier. So anything that we can do during this early period when the kittens are very just like, they're kind of like open, as long as things aren't scary, it's like, okay, cool. So they're going to be able to, again, generalize those positive experiences a lot more when they're well socialized. And if they're not well socialized, then it's easier for them to generalize negative experiences. I really like a lot of the general fear-free approach about like using a graded touch, right? Where you start at the less sensitive area and then work up to the more sensitive area. So don't just go and grab their paws. You're getting them, used to, okay, I'm touching you, and then I'm gliding down your leg, and now I'm going to just gently touch your paw. Now I'm going to touch your paw and gently squeeze the paw. And I talk about this a lot with clients who overhandle their cats. Just the fact that cats are high-frequency, low-intensity contact species. If you look at how they interact with each other, what happens when cats groom each other, right? For a minute or so, it seems great, and then they often start fighting. They're like, too much.
Like these two, where Poutine will be
that?
like, I love you, and Prozac will be like, could you not?
And it's not because they hate each other. Now, it's gone on too long, I'm done. And then it's like, no, I'm really done. Bam. And of course, again, this is where people are like, well, my cat loves belly rubs. My cat loves being cuddled all day. That's great. Enjoy it, because not every kitty's going to be like that. And if you have one that loves being handled all day, that's perfect. But recognize that as a species, cats are not typically engaging in these like love fests that we want to have, because our fingertips are so sensitive and our lips are so sensitive. These are the most sensitive parts of our body, and cats are very soft and cute, and we want to kiss them and cuddle them and hold them for so long. There's kind of this incompatibility there. So anything we can do with kittens that just helps them get used to being touched. But again, we have to be really careful and be watching their body language constantly. And as we know, even with adult cats, people are not always good at petting mindfully or paying attention to their cat's body language, and that's why we have people getting bitten. I really try to advocate for letting the cat control the interaction. And that's hard for a lot of people to kind of grasp. But with kittens, I think anything we can do, again, if they're enjoying it, that's fine, again, but watch the body language and make sure that they are enjoying it. Get them used to going on short rides in the cat carrier, take them to a vet clinic for a happy visit where nothing bad happens. They just get some churu and people cuddle them and that's it. These are things that can really make people's lives easier later. It's much easier to socialize a kitten to these things while they're young than try to train a cat from scratch to accept some of these things if they're not used to them. Because at this point, we're taking a very different approach, right? Training desensitization to something that often they now find unpleasant. So the starting point is just not neutral, right? So kittens are kind of this neutral sponge, like, okay, tell me what's cool. And then the adult cat's like, oh, no. So now we're trying to undo that. And it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, and sometimes you're just trying to get to like the best case. Like you can take your cats to the vet to get their nails trimmed. Well, that's not always great for everybody either. You can do an ear gel medication instead of a pill because you can't touch your cat's face. We accept second best for our cats because we can't do what we wish we could do without a lot of training and time.
I think medications in particular are something that it's not like a sexy thing to try and work on with your cats, but it's so important. Even if your cat isn't sick, they don't have chronic health conditions, they're young, they're healthy, getting them used to like taking things out of a syringe or like empty gelatin capsules, like being like, cool, we're okay with this, having their face handled gently and consensually, working on making it a positive experience early. It's going to save you a lot of stress at a time where you're probably going to be pretty stressed because your cat's going to be sick or not doing well. It will be worth it in the long run.
And it can be hard for foster caretakers. Like if the kitten needs eye meds or oral meds, I've definitely met cats who like you put your hand near their face and they're like flinch. And I'm like, ooh, that cat probably got oral meds and they were a kitten and it didn't go well. The meds didn't taste good and they were to be fair, sometimes they need the meds and you have to try to do the best you can. But we don't give people enough tools. You and I have been doing this a long time, and, I'm not going to pretend that everything goes perfectly for me either. I definitely had my own challenges with my own cats and what I prioritize as far as learning and training. I get it. Unfortunately, people don't always have the tools or support they need to do right by their kitties. And
I'd just like to clarify that Poutine and Prozac are perfect behavior. Like everything that they do is just angelic. So just to be very clear about these two, never any issues here. So
this cobbler's children do have shoes. Exactly. Like everybody's like, the dog trainers have the poorly behaved dogs, the cat behaviorists have the cats with problems.
Poutine's like he really is just loud is like his thing and now he's like terrified because of things that were not his fault, and we have to work on getting him used to noises again because of some trauma that he's experienced recently. We're working on it. So, Michael, I have one final question for you. I'm asking this of everyone that I'm meeting with, and I want to know, are you more of a Poutine or more of a Prozac?
Oh, God.
And why?
Oh, boy. I think maybe I'm more of a Prozac because, like Prozac, occasionally need my space.
It's fair. Though I will say he has become quite the little snuggle bug lately, where he's very like, I want to be around you all the time.
It's hard. I've known you since both have entered your life. There was that period where Prozac first arrived where he was, he needed some time. He needed some patience and love, right? But he's really blossomed.
We both had a hard first when he first came because I was deep in grief. It was like losing Zoloft was really hard. I mean, he was my best friend. I still miss him. It doesn't matter how much time has gone by. Prozac is really cool in his own regard, and he had a lot of good things about him. He's very sweet. Like there were certain things where I was like, I miss this, and I had a hard time where I wasn't thinking like logically all the time, and it, with some more time, he came out of his shell, and I got to the point where I was like, okay, I've integrated the grief into my life. I don't want to say I've gotten over it because you never really get over it.
No. Like Prozac, I need some time to blossom and get comfortable, and I kind of relate to that, his path.
You have to make sure that people are safe and that they're going to bring you treats.
Exactly, like pie.
They bring you pie, and we've established what kinds of pie to bring you.
I'm pretty open. I like most pie.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If you bring me a pie, I'm not going to be mad about it. Even like pecan pie, which I don't typically like pecans, the sugary part of it, you know, I still would eat it and I would enjoy
it. I don't want poutine to feel left out. It's kind of like astrology, where it's a pseudoscience where everybody can find something to relate to. Not that this is pseudoscience, but maybe there are some things about poutine that I would also find I relate to.
You're them as a collective. You're the dudes is what you are. You're both of them together. We've established you like eating like Poutine does.
I love to eat. Like I said, maybe Prozac a little bit more, but I don't want Poutine to feel left out. I want him to know that I appreciate who he is and can feel part of him inside me, in my heart.
Sandra did pick Poutine as who she was more like, so we're evenly matched here.
That's the tough thing when you ask a question like that, you could get into trouble, like choosing a favorite cat.
I'm thinking probably it'll end up being an even mix, because I mean they're both so wonderful cats. Different people are going to relate to they're going to be like, you know, I'm a Poutine. It's kind of like from like Sex and the City, where people were I don't even remember like the names of any of the characters.
Carrie or Samantha.
Wasn't there like a Miranda or something?
Miranda, and what's the last one's name? Oh shoot, I can't even remember, which is really sad.
Hopefully someone in the comments will let us know what the last one is, because I don't remember.
It's kind of bugging me that I can't remember, because I mean I've watched every episode of that show, sadly. As soon as we get off the call, I'm gonna remember.
You know, Michael, you have pie that you need to get to, so I don't want to take up your entire afternoon. We could talk all day, especially about cats. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and sharing your brain and sharing yourself with everyone. And I'm so grateful to you for taking the time to chat with me here today. Where can people find you, like on socials and website? Do you have like a book or anything you want to plug?
Oh yeah. First of all, I want to say thank you. Like it's always fun my dream job is just to be like in a think tank where I just talk about cats all day. So this is like the closest I get to that kind of thing, where I just like, you know, nerd out about cats and science. Yeah, if you want to find me online, I am on Instagram at Mikel.Delgado, and I also have a website, mikeldelgado.com. I try to be online, but not always as good as I would like to be. Oh, and the book. I wrote a book. It's called Play With Your Cat. Please read it.
What's this? It happens to be sitting nearby. Like I recommend it to people a lot.
It is available at your favorite online retailers, hopefully at your local bookstore. And also, I always encourage people to check out your library. I'm a big library fan and user. And if you can't afford to buy the book or want to try before you buy, if the library doesn't have it, ask them to buy it. And yeah, it's a book about playing with your cat and why it's important and how to do it. It's kind of got some stuff for the science nerds, but also a lot of practical information and really cute drawings by Lily Chin, my favorite illustrator in the whole wide world. She's the best, and she's a wonderful human being. That's my book. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to everyone for joining us.
Hope you enjoyed it.